Good afternoon. We'll call to order the Redevelopment Commission meeting for December 5th. First order on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the November 8th meeting. Can I get a second? All in favor? Aye, so moved. Next order of business, claims. Claims have been distributed prior to the meeting. Their total claims were $66,751.62. Couple of final payments, just standard stuff. Any questions or comments on the claims? If not, can I get a motion to approve and pay? Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye, so moved. Then we also have a pay application for the Crystal Beach Pool for $624,335.83. This is coming out of the Bethany Legacy Fund. Can I get a motion? Is there any discussion on the payment? If there are none, can I get a motion to pay?
And I'll just remind you, Commission, that there are a number of funds that we are pulling dollars out of to pay that. ARPA's one, Bethany Fund is the other, and then the bond funds as well as some RDC dollars. So we're denoting which fund those dollars are coming out of for this pay app.
Perfect. We've got a motion. Can I get a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. So moved. Next order of business, Reedy Financial. Turn it over to you.
Yeah, you will see in a new document from Reedy. We are starting to work on 2024 and 2025. As we've talked before, a major emphasis on housing, and you'll start to see some of those dollars being identified there for your consideration here as we move into January. What we did do as a part of 2025, anticipating the bond issue that we've talked about for over a year happening in 2024, you will notice that they have added an estimated bond payment in 2025 for that debt service. As we look towards 2026, we will note that debt payment, and with the additional AV, we're now working on developing a cash flow with the additional AV that will be coming in 2025 and 2026 from the shops at Sunrise Crossing. But it looks like we certainly have enough cash to do other projects in those years moving forward as we anticipated. Last year we did some financial projections, but you'll start to see how that bond issue will allow us to do some additional projects in 2024 and 2025. Again, that bond issue allows us to leverage within the 10-year window some of those proceeds from the North Madison allocation area. We'll have more to report in January on projections.
Okay. Any questions on the financial report? Do you anticipate that bond happening in the first quarter, or when do you?
I'd say first half.
First half.
We'll start to spool that up in January as we start to identify the Ready 2.0 projects and some of the other housing stuff strategies.
Okay.
And those related dollars needed to do those projects.
Any questions for Tony on financial? Okay, I'll let you, Tony, take over.
We'll be getting our tax draw here next week or two as well, so that'll be in the January report.
Okay.
Sorry, that'll be in the January report.
Yes, so under old business, change order number 1 on Michigan Road Pump Station. You approved change order number 2, which was a financial change to the contract. There was a change order number 1 that got missed earlier in the year that extended that contract date. The original contract date was to be completed by August 1st. This extension makes it October. And so the work has been done and completed. We just want to make sure we're crossing the T and dotting the I. That contract intent was to be extended to October. So I'd ask for approval of change order number 1 for the Michigan Road Pump Station for a time extension.
Okay, any questions, comments? Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Approved.
On the agenda is change order number 1 for the HMI lot improvements. I would ask that you table that to the next meeting. I received the final change order just a few minutes ago. There's still a little bit of confusion. If you remember, that project was valued engineered heavily, and some of the quantities in the spreadsheet were off, but yet some of the things I just saw a minute ago, there's still a little bit of miscommunication, so I want to get that right before we reapprove that. So appreciate your patience on that, and JTL's working to resolve those, so I'll have that to bring forward to you in January, if you wouldn't mind
Great.
tabling that.
Yeah, we'll table that. Moving on to new business.
Change order number 2 to All-Star Paving for Franks Drive intersection improvements. That's the final change order on that project. That project's been closed out. Once you approve this change order, it's working extremely well. If you've been up to the Culver's Restaurant recently, I think those improvements were much needed, and we know the neighbors are happy with the improvements, and it made a very nice improvement to that neighborhood and allowed Culver's to function appropriately. So this would be the final change order number 2, which includes a number of the items that the state of Indiana requested after the original contract was signed.
So can I get a motion to approve change order number 2 for Franks Drive? Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. So moved.
The next order of business is an update on the Clifty Drive sidewalk project and a request from the city for some additional dollars in support of that project. And I'll let Nicole Shell talk about the current status of the project and the recent rebids. If you remember, this project was bid earlier, late last year, and then delayed again and was finally rebid, and she has some updates.
Good afternoon. So if you remember, Clifty Drive Sidewalks was part of our Stellar Communities designation from 2017. We're happy to report that NDOT did get a awardable bid for this project. So just as a recap, on the screen are showing the where the sidewalks are going to be located on Clifty Drive. So it will be from Wilson Avenue to Michigan Road, all on the south side, and then from where the current sidewalks end in front of McDonald's to the Frisch's driveway. So this project has gone through a couple different variations. It started out as what we thought was a simple sidewalk project, ran into some utility issues, and so now it's encompassing both sidewalks and stormwater as our part of the project on Clifty Drive. It is being bundled with 3 other NDOT projects on Clifty, some changes of signaling at Craigmont Street, some improvements at Michigan Road, and full repaving. So as you can imagine, everything has gone up in project scope. So the latest estimates I had was from 2019. The project was estimated to be $3.3 million, and the awardable bid in November was $5 million when you include our engineering and right-of-way, which NDOT doesn't include in their projects. But because of the length and time frame, and because of NDOT's adding of their projects onto ours, it pushed our project back significantly in the bidding process. So they have agreed to cover most of the gap between our original $3 million project and the $5 million project. So they've agreed to add $1.8 million into the project if we would increase our investment by $227,000.
Nicole, I might just add here a little bit. I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but this was the Stellar Strategic Investment Plan that the city drafted in 2017. It had a lot of great initiatives in it. It was a comprehensive plan for economic development, and part of this plan were the sidewalks on Clifty Drive. And as Nicole had mentioned, it was anticipated to be approximately a $2.8 million project in 2017 and 18. And as we all know, fast forward into COVID, supply chain issues, now construction costs extremely high. What we did about a year and a half ago was combine our projects with NDOT. NDOT had 2 major improvement projects on Clifty Drive. We were already working with them on intersection improvements and, our plans for Sunrise Crossing. So we thought we'd get some scale by combining all three, and they did. It became a $12 or $13 million project rather than just a sidewalk project. Initially, when it was bid out, there were no bidders, and so they took a pause back, looked at the scope of all three of the projects, and then went back out to bid, and then recommended that we accept the bid for the sidewalks while they accept the bid for the other two projects. So the Clifty Drive improvements that will begin next spring will really be around a $13 million project. The largest part of it actually is going to end up being our sidewalk and stormwater portion of it, which is going to total a little over $5 million when you add in right-of-way acquisition, stormwater, utility removal, and then probably what might be the single largest investment in sidewalks at one time by the city. It's a major
It's about
improvement.
2.5 miles of sidewalks.
It's major, and it's coming at a great time because of the connectivity with Sunrise Crossing. So we're in favor of this. The Redevelopment Commission had committed the match portion, and then the city was funding soft costs and right-of-way acquisition. As you can see now, the costs are up, but through our discussions with NDOT, they've come back with $1.9 million of additional federal highway monies, and our match will increase. The total cost that the city will be investing will actually be smaller percentage-wise. But I'll also mention too, the other benefit here that's going to save us hundreds of thousands of dollars is NDOT has agreed to do all of the inspections for the projects. So they'll be doing the inspections for our sidewalk project while they're also doing the inspection services for the other two NDOT specific projects. So we will be saving, I think they estimated it would be about $400,000 of what we would be saving by them doing that portion of it and combining the projects together. One background, what? So we're happy that we're able to continue our work from the strategic investment plan, although it's different. I think the vision of it was very consistent with what we're working on. And so we have a proposal today. Tony will outline for Redevelopment Commission's consideration.
Yeah, so as we've reviewed the sources and uses for the additional dollars, the city would like to ask the Redevelopment Commission for an additional $200,000 to be used as the match towards the over $2 million of basically capital investment that the state will be making. So it's about a 10-to-1 investment ratio. That will bring the total investment for the RDC to $1 million in the Clifty Drive sidewalk project. I would also ask that you allow us to process the additional $200,000 that was in 2025's plan, 2024's plan into 2023 so that we can get that check off to NDOT as part of our conditions for.
NDOT's requirement for the match is they'll
have-
send you an invoice and you have to
pay within 30 days.
send them all of the match
Yeah.
at once to escrow for the project relative to their federal highway dollars.
So we would ask for an additional $200,000 and then the opportunity to move the 2024 payment into 2023.
And is that already in the plan?
That is, that may be in the updated plan. Let me double
I
check.
don't think it was.
I think, no, it was not. It is not in the updated plan, but it's in the plan that's,
Amended financial plan, sorry.
yeah, the updated additional dollars is not in this current financial plan.
So two things, Mr. President. One is agreeing to increase the Redevelopment Commission's commitment by $200,000, payable in 2023, and then accelerate the $200,000 commitment that's already been made from 2024 to 2023, so that we can lock down the agreement with NDOT and continue toward the finalizing the letting for construction to start in the spring.
This commitment is in the overall plan.
Yes, the commitment is in the overall plan to the Clifty Drive sidewalk project.
Dollar amounts.
The dollar amount is going to increase by $200,000.
So we do not need to amend the plan or anything like that to show an increase in dollar amount. I think this is really more, frankly, informational and to show your support and approval for the increased amount.
And to your question, John, the remaining amount will still give us $1 million or so at year end in the balance,
Right,
after those two,
I see, yes.
expenditures. And I did confer with Reedy on that, and they concur that this will not hurt.
So just a couple questions. Are they gonna do all the projects at once? Are they
Yes.
gonna be doing the paving and the sidewalks
Yep,
all at once?
they're doing it all at once. It was, awarded to one contractor, Dave O'Mara, for
And
all
what are they doing with
four.
with the signaling you said?
I don't know the specifics on the signaling. I think they're improving some of the signaling at Craigmont, and then they're doing some extensions of the medians at Michigan, but I don't have the specific details on that.
The new technology on the signaling, I know we had a conversation with them about, I think it might have been a left arrow or some way that the signal actually works with regard to the intersection. But they're modernizing the actual signal technology.
And people will cross only down near McDonald's, or where would they
There'll be
cross?
two crosswalks.
Could you show them again, Nicole? For example, at the intersection of Michigan Road, where we striped and we have little barricades now on the south side,
Yeah.
that will become a median as a part of the state project.
Oh, okay. that's
That'll
part of this
become a
as well.
concrete median.
And then as far as, pedestrians across, you'll have that existing one at McDonald's, but then at Craigmont.
Oh, okay.
I'm still gonna bring this up. I don't know why, can we cut costs? I mean, why take the sidewalk from the school all the way down to Wilson? Why?
The hope is that in the future, we can run, sidewalks up Wilson to connect, those neighborhoods on that side of Wilson further down. There are sidewalks, past the railroad tracks, south on Wilson.
And that's on the north side, correct? Or south side of the road?
And I'll just address Joe's comment, because I had to wrap my head around just really the feasibility of doing a Cliffview Drive sidewalk project, because that's not a destination. That's a heavy, heavy traffic corridor. But we don't know what it's gonna be 10 or 20 years from now. So wherever we can put sidewalks that will connect communities and neighborhoods, particularly at 20 cents on the dollar, I would recommend, not, trying to amend the contract for that portion. Because in the future, believe me, I believe it will become invaluable for us to have there. And in the future, it will only be more expensive if we decide later to do it.
So we do have the sidewalks on Craigmont too, right, both sides?
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Any other questions for Tony or the mayor or Nicole? If not, can I get a motion to approve the additional funding?
And the
for
timing.
And timing?
Yeah.
So moved.
Second? Second. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you,
And no
Commissioner.
opposed, thank you.
Thank you.
I have no other business at this time in front of the commission. Happy to answer any questions you may have about any of our current projects.
There being the next order on the agenda is city matters, mayor updates.
Yeah, not a whole lot to add there, just the continued importance on planning. And look at all what we've accomplished the last few years with the plan, and even continuing a plan that was drafted, almost 7 years ago there, and we're looking at the comprehensive plan from 2015 and the envision plan from 2016. We're doing our own comprehensive planning. There's just tremendous value in all the work that people have put into the process of, visioning what Madison could become. Now we're doing it, putting all the pieces and the partnerships and the funding together. We're really grateful for NDOT to step up, because if they had not awarded us the additional federal highway dollars to make up that gap, we would have had a $2 million gap that we would not have been able to achieve for that particular project. But I think all the pieces are falling in place really well. Tony didn't mention this, but it's in our financial plan early next year. We'll also be, closing on the first phase of the residents of Sunrise Crossing. It received its bond financing and tax credit award from the state a few weeks ago, and now we're in the planning stages of pulling that project together, and that's much needed housing. The Redevelopment Commission also supported a special allocation for the city's PACE program. That meeting will be tomorrow, I believe, right, Lisa? And Nicole? And one of the things we've really benefited from and strived for is leveraging the redevelopment and city dollars so we could have a dramatic impact at tomorrow's meeting, and we limited this to basically dilapidated or dangerous structures. We have, looks like about a half a dozen applications, about $115,000 projected to be awarded by the city, but generating an investment of almost $1.2 million for a leveraging ratio of about 9.5 to 1. So this is going to be a pretty fantastic round for us. That'll also show a lot of impact on blight elimination, historic preservation, and high leveraging for the commission's dollars. So I want to thank you guys for making that commitment, but that will be tomorrow. And if you haven't been, go to Culver's. Joe, we saw you there. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to experience a new restaurant in town. Not only are they going to provide, something different for citizens of Madison, but they're going to be good corporate citizens as well. And that's also, I think, a very important attribute for the new businesses that are coming into Madison. So,
Yeah, and I would also say that, Jordan Clark is an owner of that facility and moved here to Madison. So, again, new employees, new ownership opportunities. Both the Meyer members of their LLC were here for the ribbon cutting, and just great. They'll be great corporate citizens. And Jordan's a wonderful young entrepreneur that we're looking forward to having in the community. Yeah, she's just great. So we're very lucky. We've been very lucky in all of our developers and stores so far, with great additions to the community and great developers and a very collaborative spirit. So we're very happy for the Myers Foods and for the development at Sunrise Crossing that the collaborative spirit's been there. So
I don't know if Tony was going to go over the placer data that's in the package or not, but are you going to talk about it? You need to talk about Sunrise Crossing. No, I'm just amazed at the number of visits that's occurring as it was ramping up, but now that all 4 of the national retailers are there, and since January, it looks like since we started opening the shops, about 354,000 visits, I should say, to Sunrise Crossing. That number is going to get larger and larger as all 4 of those really, become attractive in the region. And the reason that's important is that's allowing us to attract additional investment. We still have one other retailer to work with the developers on for the small outlot, and then this data is going to be very important for attracting a sit-down restaurant at Sunrise Crossing. So,
yeah, and the data that I think was in your packet doesn't necessarily show very clearly is about 40 to 45% of the visits to the shops at Sunrise Crossing are from outside our county. So of those 70, I thought you still had it out. How many unique visitors have there been? Yeah, about
93,000 unique visitors.
Yeah, about half of those are coming from outside our county. So, we're attracting visitors from as far away as Greensburg, Batesville, Rising Sun, Aurora, Frankfort, Owington, and Kentucky, over to about Crestwood, Scottsburg, and Seymour. So if you think about drawing a line from Scottsburg to Crestwood, we're not getting the Louisville metro market, which we knew, but we are certainly attracting rural southeastern Indiana, as Madison's being their destination to come shop and have entertainment. So we are very happy about that, and only look forward to more numbers that we're using to help the developers attract additional.
I was gonna say, it's also good to see there's a strong number that are going to other places before and after. So they're not just coming to that one location, they're going other places. So I'm venture to guess that the Walmarts and the Krogers of the world are seeing an increase as well.
Yeah, and
in traffic and sales, so that's good.
Yeah, and we can see the restaurants are benefiting from those visits as well on the hilltop, and we can also see in the data that they are bringing and attracting additional shoppers into our downtown community. Again, one of our major messages was, and we've promote and advertise that in that shopping center, that we do have a downtown community, we do have downtown shops and restaurants, and we know the data is showing, as Carrie said, that they're not just visiting other places on the hill, they're also visiting downtown. Again, in smaller numbers, but it's important that.
And I think our downtown and our hilltop, they're collaborative. And, you know, what's unique about them both is I don't think there's a lot of overlap in competition from this standpoint. And we really are focusing on, blending the two areas so that we're exploiting opportunities for both downtown and hilltop businesses to capture increased visitors to our community. And the other thing I'll just mention here too is that just, over the course of the last few weeks, we've had, downtown businesses, for example, tell us that they've had
Yeah.
best ever
Yeah.
sales days.
Yeah, anecdotally, we've
Best
had.
ever sales days, and I think that that's also really interesting, as we have added hundreds of $100,000 square feet of new retail on a hilltop. Our downtown merchants, some of them are telling us they're having best ever sales.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty fascinating.
One of those was Black Friday, downtown, a merchant said they had their best day ever, and that's when there was 8,800 people at Sunrise Crossing, so.
Got the visitor center too, having more and more.
Yes, yeah, so, I think as Bob said, the synergy is starting to really work as a destination city, so.
That's all for my updates for now.
Quick question,
Lots to
any
come.
update on the Ready 2.0, is it 2.0?
Ready 2.0?
When
Nicole,
was the timing? Just-
Nicole, you probably have the latest, she has the latest information, right, probably ready right in her hand there.
It's going to be
That was a
different.
joke, ready.
Let's just put it this way.
It's a
gonna
different
be
process.
Very different process. It's going to be different.
And they have given us some time frames here just in the last couple days.
Yep, let me pull it up. They just had their meeting last Friday to announce kind of their processes going forward. So they've been working on their application. IEDC is going to determine the funding at their April 2024 meeting for each region, and then they'll announce what each region is getting. And then assuming our region gets funding, which the maximum is 75 million per region, the RDA is going to release a request for proposals at their May meeting, and then anticipate that application process being due in July with project selection in August. So it'll be the later half of next year before we know exactly what our projects are going to get funded for.
We're still completing the last three of our first phase of Ready. So hypothetically, we've been working on Ready. When did we start that? 2021? So that's, we're 3 years into that first phase, and there'll be a little bit of an overlap, and we'll be 2 or 3 years into Ready 2.0.
I think you've done a great job in having proposals put together before things come out, to be one of the first ones to have them on the table.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It's very helpful to have the plan, which is why we're always planning,
Yeah.
because you never know when the opportunity is going to present itself, and that's the key part. And I think that's what helped our region, the whole RDA region, benefit last year. We've been working on a plan for several years, and then Ready 1.0 came up, and other regions that had not been going through the active planning stages didn't really have enough time to put together a thoughtful shovel-ready plan. We were ready to go when we had submitted our proposal, so we're very happy the way it's all worked out.
Yeah, this process, this region was very successful in round one, getting the full 50 million. We were like one of 2 regions that got that allocation. So, as Bob said, some of the regions, some of the communities were not very well prepared for Ready 1.0. We've got a little bit more competition here, ready for Ready 2.0. Some of them gotten really smart and have been working really hard because they knew, Ready 2.0 was coming. So the competition in round 2 is going to be a little stiffer.
Yeah, and I mentioned there are 3 projects finishing, or that we're still finishing on Ready 1.0. The contract's been let for the Ohio Theater facade and marquee improvement, so that will start probably right after Christmas, don't you think? And then we've already started construction on the HMI property and Vaughn Street and Vaughn Drive property. That's already started. There's already signage down there. And then the trail will be the third one. We haven't even bid that one out yet, so design stage for that. So a lot of work happening there, but we'll be very busy for next year, just finishing up Ready 1.0.
Yeah.
How does that timeline compare to Ready 1.0?
It's gonna be about the same. The big difference, and with IEDC determining the amounts of allocations per region, in Ready 1.0, it was a competitive process. So, which is why, we were ready. We had a great presentation. We received, as Tony said, one of the largest statewide allocations, and then proceeded from there to break those down into the projects at the regional level. Here, they're not going to have that type of kind of beauty contest, so to speak, and hopefully we'll be eligible to receive the full 75 million. But there were some regions that you only got 15 million or 20 million or 25 million, and it'll be interesting to see if it's all a level playing field versus, well, they only got 25 last time, so let's give them 50 this time, that kind of thing. Hope that doesn't happen.
And do remember too, that this is all state dollars, so there's no federal dollars. There's, the sort of strings attached to the state dollars are much, much less. And, there's more influence on those state dollars this round than there was on the federal dollars.
Any other questions or comments? If not, our next meeting is to be determined in January. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Second? All in favor? Aye, thank you.